Good morning, welcome to CATEX TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. Today is Monday, April 7, 2014. Over the weekend, there was some encouraging news regarding the missing Malaysian airliner. The Chinese Navy reported that one of their vessels had picked up not one but two separate incidents of acoustical pings, apparently on the same frequency and wavelength as well as the same communication levels of the so-called missing black boxes. A British Navy ship with sophisticated sound locating equipment is now in that area. Unfortunately, there were two other acoustic reports from separate ships, each about 300 miles away from the Chinese ship. So although the lead did look very promising on Saturday, there now seems to be three separate leads, and all three are being checked out right now. There are questions about whether any of the sounds were the breakthroughs that searchers are looking for. Experts are expressing doubt that the equipment aboard the Chinese ship was capable of picking up signals from the black box. The Australian air chief, who's in charge of the search, said it's important and encouraging lead indeed, but one which I urge you to treat carefully. He warned that the sounds were fleeting acoustic events, not the more extended transmissions that would be expected. So once again, we could be setting ourselves up for disappointment. In the eastern Ukraine, there's been a seizure of government buildings by protesters who seem to be pro-Russian separatists. This is all occurring about 15 miles from the Russian border in the eastern Ukraine. According to the Ukraine Prime Minister, this is being orchestrated by Moscow to create an excuse for military invasion, much like the Crimea. Authorities say that armed gunmen has taken over the local headquarters of the security services in a town called Luhansk, 15 miles from the border. The Russian flag has been raised. It brings to mind Operation Canned Goods, which the Nazis used in Poland before the invasion on September 1st, 1939. 15 concentration camp victims were dressed in Polish army uniforms and killed, and their bodies dumped along a German radio station about a mile inside the Polish-German border. The Germans used that as an excuse to attack Poland beginning World War II. Europe's 40 largest insurers have spent about $8 billion complying with new regulatory requirements in 2013 alone. Obviously, this puts a growing strain on the sector and wipes an average of about 1 percentage point off of insurers' return on equity. This is according to a report from Deutsche Bank. What's more, Deloitte, the consulting firm, is saying that the total cost of compliance from 2010 to 2012 may be about $15 billion US. This is all related to the delayed implementation of Solvency II, which originally was scheduled to come into force in 2013, and it's now unlikely to be implemented before 2016. AM Best, the insurance rating agency, is warning that underwriting discipline could nosedive as levels of alternative capacity intensify in the sector. The report suggests that the reinsurance sector may be at an apex, with results likely to be on a downward trajectory following a favorable 2013. The January and April renewals show that there's a rough road as premiums have continued to decrease, but meanwhile, alternative capital flows have continued to increase. According to Best, it seems ironic that as underwriting opportunities have waned, the reinsurance sector has attracted additional capital to a market already saturated with it. It says that ILS players' ability to operate at a lower cost of capital is placing pressure on traditional reinsurance models to become more capital efficient or increase investment by taking on more asset risk, i.e. underwriting discipline. According to Best, at this stage of the market, the worst scenario would be to forego prudent enterprise risk management controls, relaxing underwriting criteria, or taking an overly aggressive investment posture. Keep our fingers crossed that the industry doesn't jump. The insured losses from the Japanese snowstorms in Japan in February have now surpassed $1 billion. This is despite early estimates predicting maybe only half of that. The CAT modeling unit of Aon Benfield said that they were expecting only $585 million of losses. However, three major Japanese insurance groups have reported in already, and they're already seeing losses totaling over $1 billion. Nigeria has overtaken South Africa as Africa's largest economy after a rebasing calculation almost doubled the gross domestic product of Nigeria, put it up to about $500 billion. Most governments overhaul GDP calculations every few years to reflect changes in output, but Nigeria hadn't done so in 24 years. So sectors such as e-commerce, mobile phones, and its prolific movie industry, the movie industry is now worth about 1.5% of the GDP, were never figured in. Growing attention from foreign investors was forcing Nigeria to more accurately calculate its statistics. So Nigerians have now said that they're going to recalibrate every 5 years to put it in line with global norms. Nigeria is Africa's most populous country with 170 million people. There was some seismic activity in the United States. At 8:33 p.m. last night in Portland, there was a 3.3 magnitude earthquake in the suburbs. No damage was done. Portland, of course, sits on several major faults. And also in Oklahoma on Saturday, there was a 4.0 magnitude earthquake about 9:58 a.m. on Saturday, about 2 miles south of Langston. During the past 7 days, about 33 earthquakes have been recorded in Oklahoma. Union Pacific Railroad says that it's working to restore train service in rural North Texas after a crash about 100 miles south of Dallas in a little town called Kosse, K-O-S-S-E. According to the company, one southbound train collided with another about 9:45 p.m. last night, causing the derailment of a locomotive and 14 cars. 2 people were injured. There are significant repair activities at the site right now, and they hope that parts of the track will be restored at some point later this afternoon. At Yankee Stadium today at 1 p.m., the Yankees are having their home opener. Derek Jeter will be present in the lineup. This is his 20th home opener and his final one. The stadium will be packed, and it'll be quite a show. Hopefully the weather will hold out. They're expecting rain here in the afternoon. That's the news for today. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back to tell you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.